Hi, I'm Joan Justice from HealthWorks Collective, and I'm here with Mark Ryan. We're at the Virginia Telehealth Summit meeting, and Mark just gave a talk on social media and healthcare. Mark, why don't you give us a short summary of your talk?
Sure, glad to, thank you. The talk I gave today focused on the role that I see social media playing in healthcare conversations heading forward. To give a little bit of background why I think this really matters, because it's kind of natural, especially for physicians, to be a little bit shy about new things. There are two patient-centered movements that are developing that I think are going to drive healthcare communications down the road. The idea of the e-patient, not the electronic patient, I learned the hard way, but the engaged patient, the empowered patient, etc. Somebody who can actually be a partner in their care, who's going to join in the care and the discussion. Coupled with the idea of what's called Health 2.0, where instead of information coming from a source high up and being filtered down to the patient's ears for them to act on, instead patients can talk to physicians, physicians talk to patients, to caregivers, to organizations, and the dialogue is much more level. The idea of the empowered patient, the activated patient, and this Health 2.0 collaborative nature of care makes social networks and social media tools really natural allies in communication strategies from that angle. There's three that I think are big. Blogs are probably the most traditional in the sense that it's a post. It looks like an essay or a paper. You can allow for comments and dialogue in that setting. But it's more, here's my perspective, and you can comment if you'd like. It's not as interactive. Facebook, I think, is a step forward in the sense of being interactive because when you have an organizational Facebook page, you can set it up to accept comments from people who are following the page. You can engage in some dialogue on the page. You can pass information broadly to your group of following accounts, or you can send messages more precisely to people, so it allows for varying levels of communication. There are some cautions in terms of privacy, which we can talk about in a moment, but I think there's a lot of value in extending messages to a network of people. Twitter takes that one step further in the sense that on Twitter you may have hundreds or thousands of people following a certain account, and any tweet, any message you send out through Twitter is received by anyone who is following you as long as they're public tweets as opposed to a private message, which means that information that comes from one source can get spread through a network of sources or a network of accounts relatively quickly. It also allows for a lot of dialogue. If I'm tweeting you, you can tweet me back. If I'm tweeting you and they hear me, they can tweet us both. And it allows for discussions to develop to 2 or 3 people at one time, and it allows for a significant expansion of the voice and the information being provided in the discussion. Now, there are obvious cautions with social media. It's not all easy and fun. You have to be very cautious about privacy, both your own privacy and patients' privacy. It is something as a physician that you do because you enjoy, because you think there's value. It's not reimbursed as part of healthcare services. So you have to see a bigger picture to do it. It's not going to be a big money earner at this point, but it really does connect you with patients in a whole different way. It's also a little tough as a physician. There's no real guidelines to this. The AMA put out guidelines, but I don't think they were terribly helpful in giving physicians a sense of what would be best practices. I suspect those guidelines are coming, but they're not here yet. So you have to be careful, but I think if you look at the big picture, how can these techniques connect people? There's a ton of value there. It could be as simple as I will send information out about a meeting or a lecture or a new treatment. If I'm a public health agency, I can send out information about a disease outbreak or an emergency response. For example, in Japan with the tsunami, information could be spread rapidly, in some cases globally, to help with the response and the recovery or assistance efforts as a result of something major that happened. You could also have an account, for example, diabetes chat, which may well exist, so I don't want to take anybody's trademark, but where you could send information to people who are following that account on self-management. Have you checked your sugar? Did you take your insulin? Here are some suggestions to live healthy. Ways to spread that information out broadly. And over time, connecting with people and encouraging them to come in for care, be it through a secure portal, be it through an office visit. If e-visits and such or telehealth services are available, can you get people in for care by engaging them in a very natural way online and then kind of bringing them behind a secure interface for the actual definitive patient care. I think patients are ahead of physicians on this. I have a strong sense that patient communities are very much looking at social media as a way to connect with each other, and physicians need to be listening and we need to be adapting, because I think this is the way things are going to go.
Thanks so much, Mark. I really appreciated that.
Thank you.
Great talk.